Background is that I got educated as a doctor and I was sent by my parents to the only rural medical college in India that Mahatma Gandhi had set up in Sevagram. And so I had the, I would say, honor of living for 8 years in a Gandhian environment, wearing khadi, doing shramdan and trying to follow Gandhian principles. I came back, I practiced as a pediatrician for about a decade and a half, and coincidentally I shifted to the development sector, and my Rotary gave me a job to do of looking at HIV/AIDS prevention. They decided to make me the executive director for polio eradication in India, which was a job now. And that was my shift from clinical work to, if I can use the word, public health. I think the story of genuine contacts touching me starts in USAID. And the first project that we designed and we conceptualized was in its nascent stage. It was called the National Integrated Health Project, and which of course now everyone knows as Vistar. And so when we conceptualized this, our dream was this particular project should have been participatory and contributory to this success of MDG 4 and 5 achievement in India. Intra Health, obviously, which had a fair amount of experience globally on this whole issue of performance improvement, capacity building, partner harmonization, government relationships, came out as the best proposal. And that gave us an opportunity to talk to Laurie Noto Parker, who was then back in the US. We interviewed her, and obviously she came out absolutely as a champion. When I met Laurie, it was sort of a meeting of two individuals who were dreamers and who wanted to actualize their dreams. We wanted to build a very wonderful team within Vistar, went through a process of stakeholder engagement right from the beginning. And nothing that Vistar did was determined by Vistar itself. It was always determined by every stakeholder in India, including the government. So the work plans, the timelines, the geographies where it would work, the thematic areas that they would engage in were all consensus built through appropriate facilitation with government and stakeholders. In Laurie, I think the two people who came as her mentors, her champions, her motivators were people who are obviously the leads for genuine contact. And that was my first opportunity to meet Birgit and Ward. And the first time I met them was when we were developing the organizational plan for Vistar, the work plan for Vistar, the terms of reference of communication of staff members between and outside of Vistar, the ways of conflict resolution within Vistar. And that's where I was exposed to this whole issue of open space technology, the circle, the divine bells, the issue of active listening, the issue of facilitation, the issue of waiting for consensus to be built and ensuring that you had confidence that the consensus that would be built would be the right consensus. Agreeing that whoever were agreeing to come and participate were the right people. Agreeing that who had not come were probably not wanted or not needed or were not ready to participate and contribute. And ensuring that the agenda for a meeting will be developed by the people who will come and not be predetermined. Deciding that there is a methodology of prioritization. Deciding that your body language, your smile, your way that you walk around, your way that you sit, are all um, divine ways of doing a magic in people. I saw magic happen, and I saw it happen again and again and again and again. I saw it happen within the Vistar team. I saw it happen outside the Vistar team. I saw it happen within government circles. I saw it happen in the whole nutrition coalition today, of which the whole world is talking about. Of develop. Gates has given a grant which is a multi-country grant. It's an advocacy grant for issues of health and nutrition to save the children. And this is a 8-country grant in which we have Norway, we have the US, we have UK, we have European Union, and then we have India, Pakistan and Nigeria. So you can see the diversity of participants within Save the Children. And we've had those participants from Norway and EU and US and UK sit in a round circle, sit for 3 days, participate and come to a consensus of what will that fairly large procurement do within those 8 countries. And so we've used this tool, the whole Nutrition Coalition from its inception to where it stands now has benefited from this tool. And there are stories that Burkett and Ward only tell us where it has been used in military environments, in very regimented, extremely opinionated groups. It may take more time. It may need the super magicians only, but I think it can be used. What has been able to be used in India, India is a case in itself. And consensus doesn't get built in India at all. It hasn't been built over the last 50, 60 years for nutrition. And suddenly we see the Nutrition Coalition, its leadership agenda for action, the block operational plan becoming consensus documents. Everything on it. We were just told that the block operational plan that was developed in one site in Gumla by the Vistar team is now being accepted in 1900 blocks by the Ministry of Women and Child Development with their funding. One block costs 75 lakhs for a year. So you can imagine 1900 blocks, 75 lakhs per year by the government of India's budgets is the best consensus that could be built, and it all started by genuine contact. If that tool had not been used, what was called the National Nutrition Conclave that happened in Chennai in Professor Swaminathan's research foundation way back in 2007, the book of proceedings that came out, the Chennai Declaration that came out, were all the seeds on which the Nutrition Coalition got built. From the Nutrition Coalition, these consensus documents got built. From these consensus documents, now policies and programs are being impacted. So this is, I think, probably one of the most wonderful stories which needs multi-sectoral engagement, which needs all the departments and ministries' engagements. And it has happened. It has happened in a period of 5 years, which is not too big a time because it had not happened for 60 years. So there must be something that genuine contact did to which we should give credit to. Globally, we've taken it nationally, we've taken it to states, we've taken it within Save the Children globally. USAID, I told you, across the board, nutrition across the board, which is multi-sectoral. We've heard other donors appreciate this and use this. So people will have to come to learn this process and then probably in this case adopt and adapt themselves to this process. Once they'll do it, they'll benefit from it, and of course organizations and systems and all definitely will benefit. There is so much happening in the development sector for training, not capacity building. And these are tools that shift the training to capacity building. And so I think that we need to build capacities of institutions with the capacities to scale up and utilize these tools more. Because otherwise, programs after programs and resources after resources have been pledged to trainings, those cascade type of trainings, those trainings which have not ended up in skill retentions or skill upgradations, attitudinal change, leadership change, communication skill sets, counseling methodologies, listening. All of that is what is missing. And for development, you do need managers. You need managers to ensure that the budgets are used at the right time, they go to the right place, they don't get embezzled. But you also need leaders, and you also need champions. The leadership development, the championing development will need these tools. Whether you call them open space, or you call them whole person, or you call them appreciative inquiry, they are tools of facilitative, consensus, participatory tools. They will have to be used. The simile I would give is to the regular Bollywood film movies, music versus Hindustani classical music. The Hindustani classical music is something that unless you understand it, you don't appreciate it. But when you appreciate it, you get involved and you get committed for life. This is a classical form of leadership training. This has spirituality linked to it. This has value systems linked to it. There will be no shortcuts. So this will have a different approach. We will need to identify champions within the system who can understand this, get sensitized to it, accept, put budgets for this, create institutions of excellence for this type, and only then it will move ahead.